there's a call on the North to embrace the proposed tax reform bills at the National Assembly, as it would create an environment conducive to business growth and investment in the region. The Northern Christian Youth Professionals at a briefing in Abuja say the 4 bills submitted by President Bola Tinubu to the legislature represent a bold and transformative effort to reshape Nigeria's tax system. The group says the bills are not targeted at the North, but rather aimed at providing a conducive economic environment for robust economic boom in the region.
Important to note that it is not a correct perception that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is trying to victimize the North with the tax reform bill. But rather, the president is trying to provide a conducive economic environment for robust economic boom in our region. Let us unite and support these reforms, seize the opportunity they present, and work together to build a brighter future for our region and our nation.
All right, let's bring in Albert Folorunsho, who is a member of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms. He joins us from our Lagos studio. Good evening, and thanks for joining us here on Newsnight. Now, as a member of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, you're at the forefront of these proposed bills, and some of the reforms have been contentious, right? And one of those contention is that derivation-based VAT model. How do you address these concerns that different groups have been talking about?
Thank you very much for having me. I think it's a major misunderstanding of the proposal. I've heard people explain what the proposal is as exactly opposite what it is not. Okay, what we have presently is where VAT on the basis of derivation is done on where the VAT is collected, where the head office of companies that are filing the VAT returns, where they're resident, and most of which are in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, and so on, and few states. So what we have is such that the VAT that is to be distributed on the current provision on the basis of derivation means that more is being taken by those states where the tax is collected. What is in the proposal is such that VAT can now be distributed, the portion to be distributed on the basis of derivation will now be on the basis of where the VAT has been paid, or where the consumption has taken place, or where the payer for the VAT is resident, and not where the head office is located. For example, you have Dangote is in Lagos, but they have branches all over the place, and therefore the goods are consumed all over the countries. But presently, the portion that is distributed on the basis of derivation is presently on the basis of Lagos, because the head office is in Lagos. But what we're saying is that a provision has been included in this bill under Section 22, subsection 12 of the Tax Admin Bill that now require companies that will be filing return going forward must include the list of where this VAT has been consumed, or where the goods have been consumed. And that will now be a base on which the portion of the VAT will be shared. We all know that the VAT present provision says that 20% is to be on the basis of derivation, 50% equally, and 30% on the basis of population. The proposed bill, which is meant to reduce the anomaly that we have now, is to the extent that 60% will be based on derivation, while 20% will be on the basis of population and 20% equally. That portion that is on the basis of derivation, which is 60%, will be centered on the basis of where the VAT has been consumed. For example, if you import goods into Nigeria through Lagos and you are based in Kano, the VAT you pay at the point of entry will be attributed to Kano, not because the goods passed through were imported through Lagos. And then if those goods are now used in Kano to manufacture and sold to Castina, yes, of course, in Kano, you will charge VAT when you are selling to Castina. And what you remit to government is the VAT you charge when selling to Castina, less the input VAT on what you pay when you are bringing in the goods. Okay, so that difference will be attributed to Kano. Then when you move on to Castina and it is sold to another state, you look at how much VAT was charged when it is being sold in Castina and how much has been paid in Kano. You take a deduction, the difference, which is the value addition, okay, will be deemed to be part of Kano.
All right, Mr. Folorunsho. I mean, you're a member of this tax reform committee. And when you listen to the conversation ongoing and see that it has reduced to somewhat north-south dichotomy, how does that make you feel? I mean, when you listen to the governor of Borno State, Babangana Zulum, who says they have gone through the 4 bills and realized that it will, in his words, he said it will be inimical to not just the north, but the south-south, the southeast. He says even in the southwest, it's only Lagos that will be benefiting from this bill. These bills. How does that make you feel? What are we dealing with? Is it lack of information? Is it, because I know the bill is over 200 pages. So is it lack of information, lack of understanding, mischief, or politics? What do you think is really going on here and how do you feel?
I think it's all of that combined, if you ask me. Because the wordings of the bills are so straightforward and can be comprehended by anyone who can read. Okay, and like I just mentioned to you, what section 22 subsection 12 of the tax admin bill says, which says that you must include a list of the location of derivation when filing returns under the bill. It has nothing to do with north and south dichotomy at all in any way. And like he said, Lagos is going to take the bigger fall when this bill is implemented, in my view, because the headquarter effect that we have now, where VAT is attributed mostly to Lagos because most of those companies have their head offices in Lagos and the returns are being filed through Lagos, payment being made through Lagos, and when the FRS is analyzing what has been collected, the bulk of it, is attributed to Lagos, will no longer happen. Okay, it will now be on the basis of where the VAT has been paid. We have telecom, where you make your phone, where you make your call. M10 today can give you data as to where exactly you are making call from. And they can file their return by including a detailed list of how much call has been made per state, per local government, per location, on the basis of the shell site that they have all over the country. So for me, there's a lot of mischief in those commentary and analysis. And I believe that with more education, more people are getting to know more now that what commentaries are being said are not really what is in the bill. Somebody was telling me today that, in fact, when it comes to the bill, they are even trying to bring in the Christian-Muslim dichotomy in terms of taxation of families and communities that has to do with inheritance tax. I said, there's nothing in the bill about inheritance tax at all, which was repealed in Nigeria in 1996 by the abolition of the capital transfer tax. So a lot of wrong commentary here and there.
Well, Mr. Folorunsho, that's why we have you here. It's important to reduce to the barest minimum misinformation and allow Nigerians the opportunity to understand what the bills entail. So just to follow up on your comment on that, on when you said it's sort of mischief, some commentaries that you've heard, what plans are there to educate Nigerians better on these bills? We've had a lot of critics argue that the administration did not conduct adequate consultations or wide stakeholder engagement. So what are your thoughts on that? And what's in place to better educate Nigerians to understand that these reforms are for the benefit of the citizens?
Thank you very much. That again is incorrect. This committee has been in place for virtually a year, and several, public hearing or consultation has taken place, including consultation with the governors, consultation with through the NGF. direct consultation with the National Assembly even before now, and consultation with several stakeholders, including traders, including Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, including students who are involved, and we also have members that are students in the committee, and so a lot of consultation has taken place. For now, whatever is being said now is to support the National Assembly, because what they have to do is their work to make the public to carry out public hearing, let people get to understand what the bill is all about, and then they will make their submission. On the basis of those submissions, the National Assembly will take informed decision on every aspect of the bill. It is not cast in stone. It is the responsibility and is their prerogative to pass the law as it is or with amendment. And this is what the President has submitted, and he has said, please, if you have complaints, can you take it to the National Assembly? And they are open. I'm sure they will go through the proper legislative process, which we have already we begin to see, having public hearing, internal discussion first, and then they will take it to the public where you can make submission on specific areas that you have issue with, and that will be explained. And whatever cannot be explained, if the National Assembly is not convinced, they can make amendments. So it is not for the committee. We're only going to be supporting.
Great. We have to wrap up this conversation, Mr. Folorunsho, but before you go, we need you to comment on the latest addition to all of this controversy. Governor Zulum also mentioned, even though the presidency has reacted, but you are a part of the formulation of these tax bills. Governor Zulum is saying some government agencies will be scrapped in 2029, including TED Fund, NITDA, and NASENI. How did that come about, and what exactly did you say in the law? Also, do you also believe that perhaps the jump in the formula, the drastic change in the formula, may be responsible for this? Because what currently obtains is a 50-30-20 based on population, equity, and derivation, as against the 20-20-60 we're now looking at. Do you think that was a huge jump when it comes to derivation?
Thank you. I will answer the two questions quickly. There is no plan to, scrap any agency. The agency in question are the Education Tax Fund, Trust Fund, the Nigeria Information Development Levy, the Police Levy, which was in place, and of course the NASENI. What has been proposed is that these are earmarked taxes, and we have said instead of making legislation for and making provision for tax for all agencies of government, can we just have one which will now be appropriated among them in the meanwhile, while government, go back, while proper appropriation can now be made for them after 2029, after 2020, because it's supposed to move from 4% for 2025 and 26, 3% for 2027 and 29, and then 2% after from 2030. For these agencies, instead of having, tax provision for every agency of government, let federal government, let appropriation be made for these agencies. There's no provision that says that they should be scrapped in any way. And again, talking about the rate from the move from 20% derivation to 60%, that was on the basis of the fact that most of the state have agreed that all the nuisance taxes that were not really generating revenue, they would jettison them, they would drop them, and then focus on derivation. And we believe that the higher that rate of derivation, the lower it gets to the few that have headquarter effect. And that was the basis. But of course, the National Assembly have the wisdom, and they are also consulting if there is a need to reduce that rate from 60 to 40 or 30%. So be it. It shouldn't be a basis why this bill should not be passed.
All right. Thank you so much. Clearly, these tax reform bills are creating a lot of controversy, and I think it's still very, very important to educate Nigerians better and even have wider consultations, because some of the people you said you've consulted with are kicking back against these tax reform bills. Thank you so much, Mr. Albert Folorunsho, Member Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, for joining us on Newsnight.